But the point remains is like, okay, so if God has called me to this specific thing, and then some circumstance happens, and I am literally unable to, is it simply not possible for me to be in the will of God then?
Right. That's the logical conclusion of that.
That's right. I think he brought up a great point that I honestly hadn't really thought about in a serious way before. So, I mean, that's a great way to look at it, is because it's not about like doing this very specific thing. It's about living a certain way, and that informs your decision. So it's like certainly to understand the will of God is important, but we overcomplicate the will of God. I think that's the problem. Is like we make it to be something that I do, not somebody I am, and some heart posture that I have. So I thought that was a great call out. But anyway, Cameron, I kind of want to hear some of what you have, though. I know we've talked about this quite a bit.
Right. Yeah. It's like, I don't know where to go. There's so many things.
Right.
I wish I remember a banger quote that ties in with just what you said. It talks about like in the home, like when we're discipling our children, like making our spiritual walk not just an annex of our life, but the main focus of our life. And that's a big part of that. It's like, I'm a Christian, but I'm actually an accountant. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, and that's, I mean, again, all bound up into all of that.
Sure.
I do love like his points on, okay, so what if God takes that thing away, right? The thing that you play guitar, you do whatever. In fact, one of our staff members here at Cherokee Hills had cancer several years ago. I don't think he would mind me sharing this. If you do,
you didn't name any names.
That's right.
That's true. Maybe he would like to name drop. I'm just kidding. Like he had cancer several years ago, and he's like our worship leader, right? Had cancer several years ago, and as a result of things that went on with that, can't sing anymore. And that is honestly, it's pretty devastating for him. It's been a long journey of like mental, emotional, spiritual healing just to get to the point where he's okay with that aspect of his life not being where it is. So that's a big deal. But so that's some of the stuff that he's had to wrestle with. And I think we all have to wrestle with that on some level, because we do want to make these things part of our identity, which maybe on some level isn't horrible, but it does open the door for that kind of tension where it's like, okay, I can't do this thing anymore. We were just talking in my office the other day about that, because I used to be a really, really good guitar player. Is that arrogant? Maybe that's arrogant. I don't know. But I have a disease that like killed all the nerves and muscle like growth in my arm for several years. And I had a lot of atrophy and numbness and terrible stuff. And my hands have never fully healed back to where they are. So now I still play guitar, but I'm nowhere near as good as I like used to be. And I'll even like try to click through things that I used to be able to play, like eyes closed, brain off, whatever. And I can't do it. And I never will again. And that sucks. But like, so I had to like deal with like reconciling, making that not like, okay, well, if I can't do this, I don't even know what I am anymore. Like, okay, well, clearly I'm not supposed to be that on some level, right? But I think that like gets back to the whole thing. It's like the greatest commandment. What did Jesus say it was? It wasn't, hey, do these things that God created you to do for his kingdom. It wasn't, hey, do all the spiritual gifts perfectly or your spiritual gift perfectly. It wasn't even the Great Commission. The greatest commandment Jesus said was love God, love others. That's his will for our life. Do that in the things that we do, and we're going to be in the vicinity of what God wants us to do.
Yeah.
Again, we just make it too hard. We want to know the specific thing. And it's really hard to not break that. And I don't know why. I would love, if you're a psychologist or a counselor listening, let us know. Why are we broken in our brain to where we can't get that through our heads?
Surely somebody's written about it.